brother man. In every nation in the Caribbean, we suffering down in the Caribbean. And it's all because of stinking oppression, repressive education for a chosen few. So many brothers on the corner, cause no school to go, no work to do, crying sin kicks.
Shut the live, shut the live.
They crying this in Antigua, in Dominica, oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off the bone.
Shut the live, shut the live.
Colonialism went, oh that I know. But oppression never ever let we go. They granted independence few by few, but oppressors never ever left them to. With his imperialistic game plan, he monopolized the land. Now the people of the Caribbean ain't got much food, ain't got much land. He crying Binsha, he back in Grenada, in Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off the bone.
Shut the live, shut the live.
The thing that hurt me most about oppression is the involvement of we politicians. You both, brother, to help fight oppression. Brother, get in there and join the bandwagon. You oppose the ruling party, you become an enemy, and you could swear to Jah Almighty. That's your destiny, your destiny. They crying NASA in Bermuda, in Aruba, Martinique, St. Lucia. Oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off the bone. Oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off the bone. Oppressors, leave we alone. Oppressors, come off we bone. Leave we alone. Come off we bone. Right. Oppression. Oppressors, 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 oppressors.
Sounds of the man Beckett there with the song Oppression. That definitely is kicking our butts there in our little sister island of Queen City, Nevis. The oppression and the misguided folks that we have giving advice to one of our young ladies there is really causing some issues for her, not for me, not for the NRP, not for the people, but for her career. I'm DJ Morrishaw, and I'm coming to you direct again here from the Gaza in the Boogie Down Bronx here. The weather on the outside is much above average at the moment. Went out earlier. Seems like a little Indian summer, as they would call it out there. Well, I'm coming to you this evening with a special segment. You know, after listening to my guys there at the groundings, the big JL, my cousin there, Dr. Martin and some kind of this afternoon, they had a healthy discussion and the happenings there in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, and more so on our little sister island of Queen City, Nevis. There's some developments and ongoing issues there with the NRP, which I think we all have a responsibility to speak on the issues and speak on them positively. And at the same time, we have to also follow the rules, follow our constitution as they are. I know there are people out there that might have a different agenda and will be coming with all kind of ideas about changing of the constitution and all of that. All of those things, if they need to be done, the constitution need a percentage of people to change the constitution. We are not in that discussion now. The discussion now that we are having is about the interim government, which is the CCM party led by Mark Brantley and the island of Nevis, and the two pending cases that is petition from the recent election on December 12, 2022. Those are the conversations that we are having at the moment. We also now are speaking about an unnecessary conversation about who should be the leader of the opposition in the Nevis Island Assembly. Like I say time and time again, for now, that is an interim government until the judge or the courts make a decision on which way that will go. Sister Cleone, who was the lone NRP candidate prior to 22, December 12, 2022, sorry, who was the lone candidate, we understood that. The leader of the opposition now, Janice Daniel, the leader of the party, sorry, Sister Janice Daniel Hodge, who is the leader of the NRP. She won her seat on December 12th. You don't need a rocket scientist to tell you, well, now that Janice has won her seat, she should be elevated to the position of leader of the opposition until such time as the court case comes about and we know what the dispensation of that is. And Sister Cleone, in her own deliberation, have stated previously that she don't have an issue with the leader of NRP, Janice Daniel Hodge, becoming the leader of the opposition. As a matter of fact, she said straight up that she supports Janice for the leader of the opposition. So if that is the case, we should support Janice as the leader of the opposition. What is the problem? That is the NRP side. As a matter of fact, I had a copy of the NRP constitution sent to me. I have it here. That's a copy of the NRP constitution. I read all 73 pages, including the signature page. I read every page in the Constitution. And it's very clear that there's a process of how the leader of the NRP is selected. And should there be a situation where the NRP was to gain enough seats, 3 out of 5, to form the government, it's natural that the leader of the party, which is currently Janice Daniel Hodge, she will be the premier. So if Janice Daniel Hodge would become the premier of the government because she's the leader of the CCM, why is it so hard for these supporters that is ringing nonsense in Sister Cleone ear that she has a right to determine who becomes the leader of the opposition? And she's not going to support Janice as leader unless she has an opportunity to decide who will become the senator. She keep referring, Sister Cleone keep referring to the St. Kitts Nevis Constitution. And I had, I had an opportunity to read the St. Kitts Nevis Constitution, and it's very clear that the leader of the opposition, the Governor General, shall appoint a senator based on the advice of the leader of the opposition. So I am trying to get an understanding what's going on with Cleone. Seems to be a sensible young lady. I understand she's an attorney, so I will not say she cannot read. I believe she can read. What I can see in Cleone is some confusion, something going on in her head where whatever plans she had of becoming premier, because this afternoon, if it wasn't so serious, it would be a laughing matter if it wasn't so serious. Because I called in on Freedom FM earlier today, and I gave my opinion, just as I just gave it to you. When I listen to some of these commentators on social media and these radios and stuff, like my boy Sam Kanda, God knows I love Sam, but I look at Sam and those guys as part of the problem that we are having right now. It's unfortunate, but I honestly look at Sam Kanda as one of the problems we're having right now. Because following up to the elections, to the local elections in Nevis, prior to the announcement of the special 6, or the popular 6, or the famous 6 that the farmer had terminated, we was in full gear of our local elections. And we were talking the things that they're supposed to be. And I listened to these guys talk about everything on the grounding school. Everything they talk about. They talk about Antigua, they talk about Dominica, they talk about the entire region. They talk about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. They talk about what's going on in America. But at the time, and this is where I am confused, and this is where I'm trying to understand what's going on with Sam Kanda now. Because it's not a lack of me asking Sam and Dwyer and these guys, and Ira McMahon and Larry Vaughan and all of these guys. It's not a lack of me asking them why I'm hearing them chatting about everything else, but not Nevis. And it was clear to me, because they made it clear to me that they have no interest in Nevis politics because all of them over there is secessionists. That's what was said to me. They have no interest in Nevis politics. All of them over there is secessionists. Right? Leave them to themselves. Sam Kanda said at the grounding school on a Friday afternoon that he don't know enough about politics to Nevis politics to get into it. Well, if you listen to Sam earlier today, Sam know more about Nevis politics than the division. Sam know about everything that's going on more than the politician who going on there. So the voice that they're giving now, I appreciate their voice, don't get me wrong. I appreciate their input. Dr. Martin, I appreciate his input. The big JL, I appreciate their input. But where was those voices when we need them? With all the nonsense that was going on in Nevis, that the markup fella there was doing, where was those voices? If Sam is saying now that he's championing, because this is what I'm hearing from Sam, he's disappointed that NRP had such an opportunity to form the government and now they're fighting amongst themselves and losing that credibility and whatever. This is what I'm hearing from Sam. Well, Sam, if you felt that strong about NRP and NRP was the better party to run the government, why didn't you say that I'm going this before? Make life easy on everybody. Talk about the things that is being done wrong. These are the things that I am concerned about. When I speak to my boy Dwyer, these guys are sensible people. Dwyer and Sam and all these guys, nobody gonna tell me that they ain't got no sense. I dealt with them one-on-one, so I know they have sense. You know, these guys are scholars. As a matter of fact, these guys are walking encyclopedias. I just met another walking encyclopedia last night. The gentleman there, Brother Stevenson Manners. I had him there for a little interview last night, and the man just blew me away with his knowledge about the cricket and about stuff like that. So I really appreciate these guys when they give their input. But why, now that the damage is done, is when I'm hearing from Sam and these guys. And why people like Sam and them who was in government and understand policy and procedures and understand protocol and understand what a constitution is about. Not just the St. Kitts Nevis constitution, but whether it's a club constitution, our party's constitution. You have to follow it. If you're not going to follow the bylaws of any organization, then you need to get out because you're going to be censured. It's as simple as that. Now we are hearing talk like everybody stand to lose. The party stand to lose. Cleone ain't gonna lose by herself. Janice stand to lose. Your partner, everybody stand to lose because you all stay silent. When there was a need for you all to speak out, you all stay silent. It's just like having kids in your home. If these kids come home with BlackBerry back in the days and all kind of pile of money in their pocket, and you know they're not old enough to have a job to make that kind of money, and people bicycle, and you don't question them where they're coming from. Eventually the police, they're not gonna get hold of them. And once they get hold of them, it's out of your control. Right now, Cleone is in a position, is a point of no return. That is where I'm seeing it for. I can recall during my days as a delegate, shop steward, whatever you want to call it for the union, I have seen so much management doing wrong to people. And when they do the wrong, and I as the delegate try to pull them up on the contract that we signed, the contract that they agree to, then they go behind my back and try to pull in an organizer and cut a deal and decide with the organizer. And then I'm finding out, well, the organizer is telling me to ease up on management, give them a way out. Give them a way out, but don't give the employee a way out that you represent. And then I find out that some of these organizers taking deals where the management is giving them a job for a family member that they weren't going to ask for. Now, some of these organizers, you know, they come to the company, they come to the firm to represent members that got into problem that was not treated right by management. And instead of them come and represent the people as per the contract, they start asking for jobs on the side for their family and friends. The management is saying, okay, if you help me out here, I will give you this and I'll give you that. And we get into some wars over that over the years. I'm hearing from people about negotiation. What negotiation? There's nothing to negotiate. Cleone came into the NRP, whoever she got in, they do not know. Rumor have it that Brother Joseph Parry used her as a replacement for him because he retired. Fine. Well, even if Joseph Parry brought her in and he didn't follow the necessary steps to give somebody else a chance, and he figured she was the right person for the position. I'm pretty sure Joseph Parry at this time is very disappointed. Because had Cleone read the Constitution of the NRP, had Cleone read this document, she would understand that whether she supports Janice Daniel Hodge as the opposition leader or not, the executive made a decision and she has to carry the baton. There was a meeting with the executive. They said on the 29th of December 2022 that our leader of the NRP will be elevated to leader of the opposition, and we want you to support this as per the Constitution of the St. Kitts and Nevis, right? I heard Cleone say for herself on more than one occasion, she don't have a problem supporting Janice Hodge as the leader of the opposition. She's the leader of NRP. So if you're saying this, why in your head you're doing differently? Is your tongue and your brain having a disconnect? Is your mouth and your brain having a disconnect that you're thinking one thing but saying something different? I also heard Cleone say she had an interest in being leader of the opposition. But one of her supporters called me earlier this afternoon and told me that they heard me on Freedom FM and what I said and whatever. I told them, well, what you heard is how I feel. That is my opinion. And I'm talking, speaking based on not only the Constitution of NRP and the Constitution of St. Kitts Nevis. I am speaking based on what Cleone said from her own mouth. Am I the only person that heard Cleone said that she supports the leader of NRP as the leader of the opposition? If I am the only person that heard that, let me know. Because worse things have happened to me. Maybe I lost my hearing or hearing things I shouldn't hear. So you let me know if I'm hearing wrong. What I heard Cleone say and the narrative, which is I think some media house from, I think it's Grenada or some one of those islands in the Caribbean there. And I heard her say it again, and another clip I think is on her program, that she have no problem. She support Janet as the leader of the opposition. So let's walk it down the road. You support Janice as the leader of the opposition. Fine. So that is done. The leader of the opposition is installed. Now come the senator. According to the Constitution that you are speaking about, Sister Cleone, the St. Kitts Nevis Constitution, that Constitution states that the Governor General shall appoint a senator based on the advice of the leader of the opposition, not the deputy. And the thing about this thing is that, you know, this individual that called me this afternoon is telling me Cleone will be the next Premier of Nevis. I mean, like I said, if it wasn't that serious, it's laughable. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, had Cleone been elected leader of NRP, Janice Daniel became the deputy, and we're in this situation at the moment. And Janice Daniel doing this nonsense. She'll be getting the same tongue lashing from JefroyMorrishaw, you know. As a matter of fact, I think Janice Daniel is more approachable. So I think I could have taken a trip down to Nevis and meet with Janice Daniel one-on-one and resolve this matter. Because I have dealt with Janice and she's a realist. She's someone that you can speak to. Very respectful, very soft-spoken and everything. So I think I would have been able to talk to Janice Daniel Hatch. But for some reason, again, I don't know if it's rumored, but I understand even the person that recommend Cleone for her position, the Honorable Joseph Parry, cannot even get you to this lady. So if Joseph Parry, the person that elected Cleone, cannot get you her thick skull, penetrate the brain she have there, that she's in the wrong at this stage of the game. I only come to one conclusion. The markup fella said he was going to win all 5 seats. And he really thought he was going to win all 5 seats because they say up to now he can't find a budget. There's two seats there that is pending in the courts. We'll wait until Wednesday or whenever the judge decides what is going to happen. But I think that based on this announcement that I heard today from Sister Janice Daniel Hatch, leader of the NRP, that the NRP executive have taken a decision, I think is the best move, moving in the best direction at the moment. Because if NRP was to win the elections, if NRP were to win these 2 petitions in court, I don't see the markup fellow accepting it like that. I see the markup fellow calling fresh elections across the board. And I think it gives NRP a great opportunity. You see what kind of meat is in the soup. Remember they said about you say you're gonna put bone in the rice and pepper in the soup, right? Well, I do not know what Cleone is, whether she's pepper, bone, meat. But I know the soup right now is not good. So it's time for that decision to be made, that the NRP need to feel a new candidate for that area. Doesn't matter what the outcome, there is no return for Cleone in the NRP party. And if there's a return for Cleone, then Morrishaw will just move on to continue my observation of what's taking place in St. Kitts and leave what's happening in Nevis. Because with all this drama that this young lady have caused, I think if the executive and Sister Janice Daniel Hatch at this point allow Cleone to get away with all that she have done, it shows the weakness, not only in NRP, but in the leader of Janice as well, the weakness in Janice. So I would recommend that you might as well stay in the opposition and build a team without Cleone. Let Cleone find her way in another team. If you're planning to build a party, it's fine. I mean, I cannot support someone like that. You know, I had respect for the young lady, and her actions in these regards, like I said, is not getting any better. Because listening to what she called in and said today on Freedom FM, that's what forced me here this afternoon. Because, you know, when you're calling in on these programs, you might get a 60 seconds or a 30 seconds. You cannot really expand on what you want to say. But on this program, I can express myself. And you, the audience, you can call in, you can come in on the video if you want and give your input, or you can continue to write your comments in the chat, like you said. People are reading, people are there, people are listening to what is going on. And I really confused as to what is happening here with Sister Cleone. I am at a loss. I heard Dr. I think it was Dr. Martin or Ira, one of them, that says that she is committing a political suicide. Not only them that said that. There was a conversation with Peter Wickham and Andrew Hugh in that regard. So let me drop this clip and hear what the conversation was with Peter Wickham and Andrew Hugh.
Political analyst Peter Wickham believes the political career of Nevis Reformation Party Deputy Leader Cleone Stapleton Simmons is over by virtue of the political impasse in the party. Mrs. Stapleton Simmons, in a recent media interview, confirmed that she and party leader Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge are at loggerheads regarding the choice of an opposition senator, but deny that she is withholding her support for Dr. Hodge to become opposition leader. But Mr. Wickham believes with the state of play, Stapleton Simmons' political career is essentially over.
You can cross the floor, that's political suicide, because that seat is never going to change color. So I would be very surprised if she thinks that she can. Maybe she could cross the floor and she will have some short-term benefit. It could prolong the life of the CCM administration if there was a by-election. So it might be in her short-term interest to do that, and she may be able to gain some level of ascendancy within that organization. But her long-term political reality is quite grim. My sense is that the NRP is the future of Nevis, because there certainly is a favorable swing, a favorable tailwind in their favor. So they're the future, and if she has determined that it is better for her to hitch her wagon to another star, a star which is on the decline, I would say that she has demonstrated a level of political stupidity that would suggest that she was not worthy of promotion in the first place. So I don't know if that's the case, and certainly if it is, I think it was very, very disappointing. And it would give her some short-term benefit, but long-term, it wouldn't go anywhere. And frankly, I think that the long-term reality for her, the prospects, are not that great as it stands unless she is able to mend fences and do so quickly. Within a future NRP government, whenever that occurs, whether it's now or in the future, she will not be trusted. And you know, trust is something which it takes a long time to build, and it can be destroyed in a second, and I think that this is what we're seeing.
In an interview on WPG10's The Narrative, Stapleton Simmons believes that the impasse between her and Dr. Daniel Hodge will be resolved soon.
We are mindful that it has to be resolved expeditiously, as our supporters definitely expect a quick resolution to the matter. And we are mindful that we will have budget debates very shortly. And so one would expect that this matter will be resolved before the next parliamentary sitting.
Based on the Constitution, the opposition leader must command the majority support of the opposition members of Parliament, and since the NRP only has 2 seats, Stapleton Simmons' support is needed for Dr. Hodge to be appointed opposition leader. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
So Peter Wickham and I is on the same page where that is concerned. Somewhere along the line, Cleone thinks she has some kind of bargaining power. She can negotiate her way about something. About what? I really do not know. And for the people that is out there pushing this young lady in that direction, you all just push her over a cliff. Because like I said, for me personally, her political career with the NRP is over. She cannot be trusted anymore. And the people that have done this to her, they have no love for her. And for them to think that they're going to get her to ascend to the premiership, like someone told me this afternoon that she will be the next premier of Nevis. I mean, I am still laughing. If it wasn't that serious, I might have been laughing louder, because I don't think Nevis people is that crazy to look at what have transpired in the last couple of weeks to go out there and give her the opportunity to be premier. And another thing I'm trying to figure out, well, if she's going to become premier, who will she be joining to become the premier? Because she cannot become the premier on her own. So is she going to cut a deal now with the the current interim premier to become premier, to keep him intact, that he have enough seat to hold on, and should NRP get one of those petition case, her seat will be in the position to bargain, left or right. So they are hoping that she would have her strength at that point to determine, well, now, Janice, I want to be political leader or the person to name a senator that will give me power over you in the government, because basically that is what's going to happen, you know. If Janice give in to Cleone to select the senator of her choice, that senator would now have allegiance to Cleone. When there's decisions to be made, stuff to go down in Parliament, Janice will be left there as a lone ranger sitting down, taking the nonsense. So I know where this thing's supposed to end up. I am not on the executive committee, but one thing I can say, I am quite satisfied with how things are shaping up. Take a listen to this from the honorable leader of the NRP. I just love this presentation today. Calm, cool, and collective.
As you are aware, the NRP contested 5 seats in the recently held elections of 12th December 2022. The results of those elections in 2 of those constituencies are being challenged in the High Court by the NRP candidates, Dr. Patricia Bartlett and Ms. J.D. Keynes. The NRP won 2 seats. Nevis 4 was won by myself, and the Honorable Cleone Stapleton Simmons won Nevis 5, St. Thomas's. With 2 elected members, the NRP is entitled to have 1 member appointed as opposition leader, provided that that member is supported by the other elected member. The opposition leader is entitled to nominate a senator in the Nevis Island Assembly. The Executive Committee of the Nevis Reformation Party took a decision on December 29, 2022, that I, as party leader, should be appointed the opposition leader. The Honorable Cleone Stapleton Simmons was aware of the executive decision and was requested to advise the Governor General of her support for me as the opposition leader in furtherance of the decision of the Executive Committee. While I will not go into the details of the situation at hand, it is with regret that I inform you that to date, Honorable Cleone Stapleton Simmons has not complied with the request of the Executive Committee to sign the letter. As such, the Governor General has not appointed an opposition leader. As leader of this party, therefore, I wish to advise that the Honorable Cleone Stapleton Simmons has been conditionally suspended from the institutions of the NRP pending the findings and recommendations of the NRP Disciplinary Committee. I can assure you that as we take this time that God has given us to build our resilience, our integrity, and our togetherness, my NRP remains resolute that we have a mandate to take Nevis in a new direction to overcome the many social, economic, and environmental challenges that we face in today's ever-changing world. The people of Nevis deserve a caring and compassionate NRP government that can empathize with our struggling families and who want a brighter and more sustainable future for our youth. Our people deserve an NRP government that understands the importance of creating jobs and providing adequate healthcare services here on Nevis. It is not an easy road. There are many challenges along this path, but we know that God will continue to guide us to ensure that nothing happens before the appointed time. And when He is ready, NRP will be ready to serve the people of Nevis. We ask for your continued prayers.
Now, that was a address today by the Honorable Janice Daniel Hodge. Now, apparently, sometime today, I would assume after, prior to that conversation that Janice Daniel Hodge gave us with the decision of the executive of the party, according to the Big JL and his groundings programs this afternoon, that he had a conversation with Cleone today. And Cleone will be coming with an address at 6 p.m. this evening. And Freedom FM will be carrying that address. Somewhere during the conversation, someone said, no, they understand the address will be at 8. So, Sister Cleone took the opportunity and called in and bust my partner Jail Bubble, informing him that she heard him broadcasting that she will be making an address this evening and he will be carrying it live. Cleone said she don't know about that. So I wonder if it was Jail dreaming, it was Cleone dreaming, because the Jail that I know, I don't think JL will be making up something in his mind like that. So somewhere along the line, there might have been a change of heart and Cleone's part to make this address. During that same conversation on Freedom, I heard Cleone said that she did not know why she was suspended. Well, Cleone, the leader of the party, just outlined the reason why you were suspended. Freedom FM played the reason why you were suspended. You had to be listening to Freedom FM when you call in to confirm with the jail why that you were not coming on any broadcast this evening. So you still don't know why you were suspended. Cleone, you were suspended for not carrying out your responsibilities as a representative of the NRP. You violated the Constitution. The executive make a decision since December 29th. As a matter of fact, you've been peddling a lot of false stuff on social media because people out there have the wrong information. You give people the impression that the chairman of the party, Brother Hensley Daniel, disrespected you by sending a bailiff to you to be served a letter. That's the narrative you try to give to the general public, that the leader of the party, someone that you supported in the past and voted for, sent the bailiff to you with a letter, and that was disrespectful. What you did not tell the general public, Sister Cleone, is that the leader of the party, Sister Janice Daniel, sent you the same letter several days before, and you did not respond to the leader. Several people tried reaching out to you to try and get this matter resolved. You would not take their call, you will not respond. You was unreachable. So the only alternative that the chairman had as the party is to do his due diligence. The same letter that the leader of the party sent to you, Cleone, that's the same letter, a copy of that letter that the bailiff served on you. It wasn't a different letter. It was nothing to disrespect you. The process has to take place, and you know that as a lawyer. You know the process. If you plan to sue the NRP for violating your rights, then the NRP have to follow the legal standing and do what they need to do. The bailiff is the legal authority to serve you with the letter since you refuse to accept it from the leader. Yes, I go. That's how you go. So why are you out there misleading the people and trying to dirty the good man there, Mr. Hensley Daniel? You could do better than that, Cleone. cut out the nonsense. I listen to some of your supporters saying, oh, you did not lose the leadership of the NRP. They cheated. It was a fixed election and all of this stuff. At this stage of the game, this is what you are coming with. That election has been done. Janice has been the leader for months. I get caught up in NRP sometime in the summer last year when I was in Nevis. I met Janice for the first time. When I met her, she was already the leader of the party. So you're going to tell me more than 8 months later, you all still trying to do nonsense to the young lady because you all don't agree with the outcome of the election? What you all should be doing is setting yourself up to go ahead and put yourself in a position, a stronger position for the next time around if you want to become the leader of the party. If there should be any kind of election tomorrow, Sister Cleone, if you stand a chance to get any appointment on the NRP board, or even to be a part of the NRP, then the NRP is not deserving of the opportunity to lead Nevis. Not after all of this. If your plans is to start your own party, good luck. Because I would want to think that the people of Nevis, after looking and examining all the situation, know that you does not have, my boy like to say, the fortitude to run the business of Nevis. We're going to deal with the markup fella in a bit, you know, but I'm dealing with NRP for now. Because the rumor I got it is that you go to him for advice. I do not know how true it is, but you got one of your strong supporters who tried to convince me this afternoon it's only twice you went to the markup fella for advice. I went to talk to the markup fella. Well, sister, if this is so, whether you went once or twice to talk to the markup fella, you are in a position, you have an executive board. Why would you want to go to the markup fella for advice? He's in government. He spent millions of dollars, from what I understand, to put people to run against you and the rest of the NRP team. Why would you want to go to the markup fella for advice? So to that supporter, if you're listening, as I said to you earlier this afternoon, I'm not going to debate whether or not she went for advice from the markup fella once, twice, or 3 times. The markup fella said publicly on his program that she come to him for advice. And if I am going to go for advice from somebody who is busting my ass, then I really have a serious problem. You know, if I have a little girlfriend here that I love so much, and they got a man out there, I take me sugar cake, as Ike will say, and then I go into the man, go get advice from him about my little girlfriend, then we got a problem. Something wrong with me. The only issue I have with the situation, you know, the only issue I have with this situation is that the problem with you, Cleone, and NRP and your actions, that's been known for some time now, for months, since last year. And the kind of temperament of Janice, she tried to show some kind of leadership skill in that regard, not to ruffle your feathers and make it a public issue. So she tried to deal with it in the quiet way. And now that it blew up in the public, people have a lot to say. Janice don't have any leadership skills. This should have been handled in a certain way, this, that, that. Well, people, I am an eyewitness of the months that I observe the actions of Cleone. My first experience with her really was when she came to New York sometime last year, when there was that get together at the church hall over there on Castle Hill Avenue. When she came in there, her attire definitely did not fit the NRP attires. We all know what the NRP attire is. We all know it's green and we know how they dress. I look at her approach as she moved around the hall, the way she deal with the leader and her other colleagues. I listened to her speech and I said to someone, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna call name because who don't like it is their problem. I spoke to Hazel Claxton and Jean Schneider. Hazel is a member of the Division for Nevis team here in New York. Jean Schneider is the president of that organization. And I gave them my observation. And I told them, I said, you all need to really speak to the leader of the party and get a handle on this problem, because it's only a matter of time that this thing gonna get out of hand. I said, I don't see the support from Cleone for the rest of the team. I see like it's an individualistic thing. It's a selfish thing, right? And I explained to Jean and Hazel, I said, you all have to understand something. If you all don't rein in Cleone now, you all going to either end up in the opposition for another 5 years, or you are going to rein her in and make her understand it's a team effort. And as a team, you guys can win the government. But as long as you are going to be as divided as I can see it, if I am on the outside and just getting an opportunity to come out and be a part of what you all are doing. Because it was a last minute thing when I went to the church to provide sound and thing for them, Hazel reached out to me and asked for the assistance, and I went there. And I found out Jean Schneider is someone I have known for some years and whatever. So I was new to the whole operation. And if I could observe the division there, I mean, the general public had to observe it as well. So Cleone has been the problem all along, and they tried to cover it up. You all hear about them sore foot they used to get in St. Kitts back in the days. I don't know if Nevis had any, I think they had somebody named Saab. Remember when you put your Saab on your foot, the Saab stink like grass? Remember them days? The foot they stink because you're trying to make sure the foot heal and the foot not heal. No matter what you put on the foot not heal. You got to take it off. I remember, I know several people, a doctor tell them you got to cut off your foot if you want to save your life. And they refuse to cut off the foot and they're dead gone with the foot. Well, that's the situation NRP is put themselves in. The time should have been before, but the time is right now. The time is right now that you have to cut Cleone loose. If this lady gonna still come to them Freedom FM, after listening to the clip that the big JL played, that Janice had an address of the decision taken by the executive, and she's gonna still tell me, this little black boy from St. Paul's who didn't go to college, that she don't know why she's suspended, then something is really wrong with this young lady. There's a disconnect between the brain and the tongue, the brain and the mouth. There's a big disconnect there. Because I know why you suspended Cleone. And that should have been done a long time ago. As a matter of fact, from the federal election, knowing that the local was so close by, I guess they didn't want to rock the boat. But from the federal election, they knew it was a problem. And they should have run somebody else in your position. If you're going to lose, lose with a good candidate. You cannot have somebody in your house eating down your food, thieving your money, and when you ask for your money, they help you look for it when they're not done with it. But it's not too late. I can say for sure it is not too late. I have heard enough It's in a public domain now. I don't need to polish nothing. And I know Sister Janice Daniel Hodge is not outspoken like me. She is on the quiet side. But I know my boy, what you call it there? My boy Black Stallion like to say, look on the brighter side. You know, and there's a brighter side to this. Once you all fix this, rectify this problem with Sister Cleone, everything will be good with the NRP. Nothing happened before its time. We got people out there that, for some reason, they go on social media to put things for likes and for love. I'm not into all of that nonsense. I don't care about the likes and the love, because at the end of the day, Jah is our keeper. We're just passing through. We need to just do the right thing for our people and our country, for our community, and stop being selfish. Because no matter what you have today, you're going to leave it behind. I can tell you. My cousin, dear sister Olivia, had some lovely hair, and she got to take all of it with her. She's not leaving it for none of you. You understand? I want to say good evening to the leader of the NRP, Sister Janice Daniel Hodge. Stay strong. You're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. I want to big up my boy Carbody over there in Nevis, my new local chef. I hope you guys are supporting him. He does some real good goat water on the side of Nevis. Tomorrow is Saturday, so I'm pretty sure up there will be busy with Patrice and those guys. He also does some nice fish and green banana and stuff. So support the Carbo. And also my boy Giza there down at the ferry terminal. Giza does some nice barbecue ribs, barbecue pork, barbecue chicken. And my favorite is the barbecue pigtail. Man, that guy is good. You know, I just love that stuff. But we're going to look at the brighter side. So I've been speaking for a bit. Let me drop a track here. This one is called Look on the Brighter Side. I also want to drop Brother J. Dwyer Astafan's commentary, because I know some of you might think that Dwyer flip-flop or whatever, but Dwyer is as real as you find them. It's unfortunate that he cannot call out his brother by name. But if you listen to this commentary of Dwyer from this Wednesday, Dwyer is talking the things in. All you got to do when you listen to the commentary is fit in the markup fella in between there. Because Dwyer was punching this past Wednesday. He was punching. So we're going to drop a track. I am going to give you Brother Dwyer's commentary, and then we're going to go into the markup fella before we wrap up. But I just had to come this evening to give you a quick one, because I think it's important that we sensitize the people out there who are hearing half the story. You're going to get it right here. You're going to get the real deal here. Understand? I know I got my sister there, Sister Cicely Brown, Pastor Brown, and she pray for me daily and nightly, because she know the struggle is real in Nevis. Gwyneth Morrishaw just the same. She continued to pray for the people of Nevis and for the Federation and a whole. I see her praying for the Prime Minister so much these days. I wonder if the Prime Minister give her a contract, because when she start praying for the Labour Party, you would think the house gonna turn red. Sister Beverly as well, doing a good job. All the folks here, Sister Cora Bennett, thanks for your continued support. You know, but look on the brighter side. You know, things gonna work out eventually for the people of Nevis. That I can assure you.
but we must keep going. We feeling the pain, yes, we keep holding strain, but we must keep fighting. Regardless of how it come, we just can't surrender. We gotta keep working towards a better future. We may never be always down and fighting to stay off the ground. We must remember our day will come. While we appreciate the little life got to give, regardless what's the hurt, we must think positive. Look on the brighter side, look on the brighter side, because I see a silver lining behind this gray cloud we're passing. Look on the bright side, look on the bright side, for the bright side is where we going. Oh. A heavy load, yes, we going down the road, but we must keep going. Like if we commit a crime and we keep serving time, but we must keep fighting. Remember they say that nothing lasts forever. One day is for the slave, one day for the master. So always keep your courage up, don't allow confidence to drop. One day we'll be right here on top. While we appreciate the little life got to give, regardless what's the hurt, we must think positive. Look on the brighter side, look on the brighter side, because I see a silver lining behind this gray cloud we're passing. Look on the bright side, look on the bright side, for the bright side is where we going.
Yeah, man. Look on the brighter side, Sister Daniel. You will be alright. NRP will be alright. Queen City Nevis will be alright.
The journey may be long and you keep falling down, but you must keep standing. It keep getting hot, like the pressure won't stop, but we must keep going. Everybody in life does have their little setbacks, but we just can't say that's that. Sit down and relax. Don't care what we go through today, surrender we must never say. Where there's a will, there is a way. While we appreciate the little life got to give, regardless what's the hurt, we must think positive. Look on the brighter side, look on the brighter side, because I see a silver lining behind this gray cloud we're passing. Look on the bright side, look on the bright side, for the bright side is where we going.
Oh yeah. Man, you just have to look on the brighter side, dear Sister Janice. I want to say a special good evening to my boy there, brother Mikey Slack. How are you doing, my brother? How about the man Jeff Pemberton? How are you doing? Sister Patty Bartlett, how are you doing? Margaret Taylor, I'm sorry, how are you doing? Annette Morton, how are you doing? Tanya Powell. How about my girl, Tessa Powell? Everything good with you? All right. Annette Morton. Ermine Queely, how are you doing? Everything good? How about the man there, brother Ashbourne Libert? How are you doing, my brother? Everything good with you? Celine Tobias, how are you doing, sister? Everything good? How is Carlton and the crew? LT McLidden, how are you doing? Everything good with you? Here's the Claxton. How about Sister Naomi Ward Bradshaw? How are you doing? Ione Mitchum, how are you doing? I want to big up my boy there, brother Thaddeus Depo. So how are you doing, my brother? Everything good with you? And my boy King Ginger is doing. The man Chilston Francis, how are you doing, my brother? Everything good? Tamika Salid, how are you doing? Everything good with you? How about Boo and Yule in the Virgin Islands? The man Sebastian Williams. Brother King Freddie D, how are you doing? Brother Williams, everything good with you? The man, as I said before, remember to check out my boy there, Brother Carbo. Some serious goat water and fish water over there in that area. I think it's the Nisbet area. I'm not sure of his location. But Carbo, when you get a chance, put something in the chat, let the folks know where your address is, your contact number, where the folks can come and get their goat water and their fish. Many people has been talking to me about your thing, you know. Earlier this morning, I received something on Facebook there. And I was speaking about our new Governor General last night. And I really want to applaud her for taking the effort, making the effort this morning to pick up the phone and call one of our ambassadors in his own rights, Brother Stephenson Manners, and congratulate him on the release of his book. You know, last evening, it was a very interesting, informing, educating session for me with Brother Manners. I look forward to continue our conversation. This gentleman is a walking encyclopedia in the Nevis Island. And, you know, somebody told me this morning that Brother Manners once worked for the Nevis Island administration, but since this government took over, he no longer worked there. They don't know whether he was terminated or whether he resigned. But whatever the reason why Brother Manners is not working for the Nevis Island administration, I think is a very shortfall for the people of Nevis. Someone like that, with that kind of talent and knowledge to do things, should always be encouraged to do as much as possible. You all look at how these Calypsonians perform, like singing Francine and Swallow and Short Shirt and Black Stallion and Explain and these guys. These guys did their thing all the way to the end. Abstinent is still going strong. You got to utilize your people, educate the young. Even if to put Mr. Manners in a school to try and harness some young brain. You all can't put these people out to pasture with that kind of talent. You cannot do that. These guys going to leave with all that knowledge when the time comes. The Rockefeller like to say, when the time comes, I will this and I will that. Well, the time has come for you to change your wicked ways. Change your wicked ways and do the right thing for the people of Nevis. The time is ripe. Adulty Mac Ledon, how you doing? Good evening. Everything good with you? Jezel Skeet. Delicious Nicholas Brown, how you doing? Everything good? I want to big up my girl there, Patsy. Patsy Batcher, how about my girl there, Patsy Weeks? Sister Angela, how you doing? Farrell, how you doing? Everything good with you? Visha, how you doing? Everything good? Thanks for your usual support, your little Nevis thing. Everything good with you? How about my girl, Sandra Thompson? Everything good? I want to big up the PM as well. You know, the PM is doing a good job, even though they're trying to undermine me. And my boy, the Attorney General, hardest working Attorney General I've ever seen in the Federation. Keep up the good work, my brother. Loretta Clark Queely, how you doing? How about my boy there, Ambassador Queely, over there in the Morocco area? Brother Aston Williams, the man Dams, Brother Hendrickson, how you doing? The man Francis. Everything good with you? I just want to say to you folks, I know some of you might feel like Dwyer not doing his thing, but with everything that's going on, people, if someone such as Cleone could be in the NRP and doing the damage she's doing that she's elected to do and whatever, I mean, I could understand Dwyer's position. I could give them a break for now. I give them a pass for now and say, you know what? If the people there that is elected to do the job and do the things for Nevis not doing it, and you guys choose to stay out. But I'm just saying, you all can't choose when you're going to come in and come out with the benefit to you all. You all have to be there for the whole thing, right? So folks, take a listen to Dwyer's commentary for this Wednesday. It's a very powerful commentary. And if you listen to it well, you would realize that he's ponging all of them that was there previously. Every one of them, from the Team Unity Administration, from the PLP to the PAM to the CCM, he ponging every one of them that was a part of this thing. So take a listen.
Greetings. I had another topic to share with you today, but given the fact that on this very day, Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, the Parliament of this country is meeting to debate and pass an amendment to the Integrity in Public Life Act. I think it is only fitting to discuss this most important topic today. The Integrity in Public Life Act was first passed in 2013 at the initiative of the then Labour administration led by Dr. Denzil Douglas. In my humble and respectful opinion, the act was passed at that time in anticipation of an election and in the hope that people who were crying out for it would be satisfied. But the act was deficient, and perhaps intentionally so. And I don't believe that it was passed with any serious intent to put it into effect. Indeed, it was not put into effect by that administration. And I had from 2013 up until early 2015, when there was a general election. Following that general election in February 2015, won by the coalition Team Unity, the Dr. Timothy Harris administration also dragged its feet like its predecessor had done. And it wasn't until 2018 that they passed the act. But even then, they did not pass all of it. The relevant minister never issued the statutory rule and order to give effect to the provision requiring relevant government officials to file their statements of personal financial worth. You will no doubt recall that they had come into office with much of the country riding on a wave of hope and expectation that the Harris administration would put the governance of this country on sound footing with proper integrity in public life, freedom of information, contracts and procurement, and other legislative apparatus to conquer corruption, to be guided by the rule of law, and all of that other good stuff. They preached it high and low, and a lot of people bought what they were saying, believed them, and voted for them. But you will recall that none of that happened, which is why the voters wrongly rejected them on August 5th, 2022, and gave a chance to the new Dr. Terence Drew Labour Party administration to get this thing right. It is of the highest priority. So today, Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, is a significant day for Dr. Drew and his colleagues, and even more significant for us, the people of this country. Significant to Dr. Drew and his colleagues because in passing this amendment and bringing it and the act into full effect, they will have taken the first step in the right direction for the country, which is what they promised to do as well. And it is more significant for us because if they, whether elected or nominated or otherwise engaged in the public service, are made to conduct themselves and to perform their duties by certain high standards, then we the people will automatically be better off. And who doesn't want to be better off? When those who lead are made to conduct themselves with integrity, then their conduct serves to set the tone for a new culture of efficiency, professionalism, and yes, integrity in the public service, and also serves as an example and an inspiration to the rest of us, especially our youths, setting a pattern for social, political, and economic progress, productivity, stability, and prosperity, which is what we want and what we need. In putting the integrity in public life administrative apparatus in place, the Drew team must be sure to appoint properly suitable persons, and we will be watching that very closely. If they get it right and allow this act to operate professionally and without interference, and I am confident that they will, then they will have taken a major step in strengthening their own credibility and goodwill, both at home and abroad. And that would be great for our country. Foreign governments, international institutions, credible and honorable investors will look at us positively, which is what we need in order to empower and elevate our people. If Dr. Drew and his team do not get it right, then the opposite will happen to them, and it will be bad for us. Our country will suffer. So they are on the knife's edge. They're not in a luxurious position. They have to do the right thing now. We've had enough promises in the past, and passing legislation is not enough. You must put it into effect and put the right people to administer it without political or other interference. No longer must people in high office be allowed to abuse the privilege which we the voters give to them. No longer must they be allowed to seek personal and private self-enrichment out of the offices to which we elevate them to serve us. And no longer must we the voters, we the people, be asleep on this most important job in a democracy. That is the job of being a citizen. We must never again tolerate the abuses, the dishonesty, and yes, the thieving of the past. Look for yourselves at some who became quick multimillionaires in public jobs, all because you entrusted them with power, and they used the power for themselves, and they used the power over you. Some of them used the power as a weapon against others. They were not voted in to do that. Look at all of those sweetheart deals, all of those dirty contracts, all of those unfinished government projects. Look at how much money people got, and we're finding out bit by bit. And the country has nothing to show for it but regret. Let me tell you what follows when proper integrity in public life and other public governance legislation are in place and observed and respected by leaders. Apart from the economic, social, and political benefits to the country, bad actors go to jail, and that's a good thing for the country. To jail where they belong for having abused public office. This thing has been going on for too long, with nobody being made to pay the price for their wrongdoing. As public servants, we're quick to lock up somebody for possession of a little bit of something, for petty theft, for other things. Well, what could be more serious than electing people to the public trust or appointing them or engaging them in positions of public trust? And they're abusing that. What could be worse than that? Taking advantage, victimizing a whole nation. Jail is not just for violent criminals and ordinary folks. Jail should be the place where the big white collar offenders are sent and made to spend a long time, especially those who abuse the public trust. So today it is the Integrity in Public Life Amendment. Soon we want to see the Freedom of Information Act working. We want to see a proper Contract Procurement Act working, a proper Public Service Act working, proper Organized Crime Act working, and other acts and protocols in place to protect the integrity of the government and the country, and to protect and serve and enhance the best interests of the people of the country. As I close, I reflect on the recent comment by the Prime Minister in which he referred to an investigation that had been done on the Development Bank. We look forward to see this matter progress to a transparent and just conclusion, one way or the other. And we look forward also to transparent and just conclusions to other investigations which we expect are underway presently into other government institutions and individuals. This, my friends, is not victimization. This is necessary investigation to safeguard the public interest and to send a strong and compelling message to anybody who has any greedy, selfish, dishonest, or sinister intent that public office is not for you. And they must receive that message loudly and clearly.
Yes, that is the sound of the man G.A. Dwyer Astapan commentary for Wednesday, the 8th of February. Very powerful commentary, because if you pay attention to what Dwyer is saying, Dwyer is speaking about what's transpired in the last administration, the Team Unity administration, which comprised the People's Action Movement, PAM, led by Sean Richards, the People's Labour Party, PLP, led by the former Hag, Timothy Harris, and the CCM, that's led by the patch-up fellow, not the patch-up fellow, the mark-up fellow, the Mark Bradley. Now, following the amendment bill that was passed, was tabled in the Parliament on Wednesday, and Dwyer's commentary, I realized the mark-up fellow posing off with some brown envelope. So he went to declare his asset to the Public Integrity Committee or whatever, and Nevis. That don't fool me. You're posing with a brown envelope saying you went and declare your asset doesn't tell me anything, because I know you're capable of doing the otherwise. You don't declare everything until you get caught. Understand? So I don't really have any much, be honest with you, comfort with that, right? The situation I have here is that now that the new administration, the new Labour administration, is trying to do the right thing to clean up the mess that was left by those people. And like I said, the CCM, the party that is there, that is a part of the opposition, led by the markup fellow. If you all can recall, you know, the markup fellow came down to St. Kitts. I was there over in Greenland's area there in Challengers, no, Virtuals on the lawn, where he made his big speech when PAM launched their what they call it there, when they launched their campaign manifesto. And I even had an opportunity to check it out because they asked me to. My boy Normals asked me to come over and check it out. So I went and I checked it out. And the markup fellow says that he came down to St. Kitts to show solidarity to the People's Action Movements and Sean Leader as the next Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, because he was sure that CCM will bring 3 seats from Nevis, and Sean will be able to take another 3 from St. Kitts. And between CCM and PAM, they will form the next government. What a dream that they had that night. That's a serious dream. He did bring his 3 seats from Nevis. And again, I believe those 3 seats came from Nevis because of the divide that was there within the NRP party. Nevertheless, he bought his 3 seats. But something the markup fella did, which having me question his integrity. The markup fella run on a platform that CCM and PAM is running as the real unity, while the PLP run by themselves with 8 seats, 8 candidates, said there was the real unity. So the PLP under the Farmer Hag with his 8 was the real unity, and because CCM and PAM was 2 separate parties, they said there was the real unity as well. So Labour was a standalone party. Well, you all know my position with NRP. NRP said they're not taking no sides. They're going to wait until after the election. You all know my problem with that. But nevertheless, I'm focusing now on the markup fella. The markup fella said him and Sean, the PAM, is a team. Well, the team lost. They get 2nd place. So there was a time to select a leader of the opposition and a senator for the losing team. Well, the markup fella forget that Sean and him was a part of a team, you know. The markup fella decided I want everything. So the markup fella took the leadership of the opposition in Parliament. And if you listen to Parliament on Wednesday, you know, you realize that though the markup fella is supposed to be the leader of the opposition, Sean is doing his job, you know, because Sean is opposing everything just for opposing sake. Sean not even stopping to think what he's opposing. He was there for 7 years, and all the ideas he's presenting now, he had 7 years as a deputy prime minister to do it, you know. This is the thing that have me puzzled, is that these guys was there for 7 years and did nothing for the water situation, did nothing about public integrity life, did nothing for the people. Just help themselves. And everybody got their hand in the cookie jar and pointed on each other, who getting the most. Remember when Grant said he did not know nothing about the peace? Then he come back, he was a part of the session of the peace. Then Mark don't know nothing about the peace, and this don't know nothing about the peace. Everything was done by the Farmer Hag. Now everybody trying to take credit. Now, my problem with Mark is a serious problem. Because I could understand he wanted to take leader of the opposition. He has 3 out of 4. Between him and PAM, they won 4 seats. So he take the leader of the opposition. No beef with that. Well, partner, if you run as a team with PAM, why couldn't you give Sean the opportunity to select a senator? Give him a little cushion in there that he don't sit alone by himself. But now, the markup fellow decided he wants senator too. And not only senator, he now in a position as the opposition leader and senator where he could select the deputy speaker. So, like Timo had said, you know, Sean, you mumu. Timo says so. The Farmer had said, Sean, you mumu. Mark could outsmart you, but Mark can't outsmart he. I wonder where I have that clip. I wonder if I could find that clip. Because Timo was onto something, you know. Timo was onto something. The Farmer Hag, as bad as he was onto something. Because Mark, you could fool Sean, but you cannot fool the Farmer Hag. As a matter of fact, I think I could find this clip. I got to find this one specially for the farmer hack. This evening, I got to give the farmer hack some props. You warn us, just like Dougie had warned us about you. Dougie warned us about you in a hack, but we didn't listen. We just went along with your nonsense. You get away with it for 7 years. But you warned them about the farmer, not the farmer. Yeah, the farmer foreign minister. That's what he was, the farmer foreign minister. You warned Sean. But listen to the farmer hack for yourself.
None of the contenders are fit. Mark who outsmart Sean, but Mark can't outsmart me.
When I see my friends become my enemy.
He can outsmart Sean, but he can't outsmart Timothy. And that is where the problem lies. And so, his problem, apart from the hunger for power, power for its own sake, is that Mark can manage. Since we came in office, we have given Mark more monies than any other premier of Nevis has had. Before our time, no money for Nevis. We started with 30 million. We increased it when Mark come to 45. You understand? 50%. He came, he voted for the budget in 2021, and he said the 45 was good. Then he come in January to harass me. He wants $66 million. I said, Lord, this gonna look good. I said, this is 47% increase. Where in the world those kind of increase happen? And so I said to Mark, Mark, you are spend bad. He said, I have an election coming. I said, you still are spend bad. What I want you to do for me, Mark, is to begin to take some of these additional millions I am spending here for you on your payroll. I didn't tell him he had to do it all at once, but I wanted him to accept the principle that what he was doing was not fair. Not fair to St. Kitts, not fair for you, because every $1 million I gave him that was unbudgeted means $1 million less for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and for the federal entity. He not telling you it's over $400 million we sent up there. Douglas gave him none. Douglas bounced their check. And we change up all of that. And you know, Mark ain't no good, Mark ain't no good. And you know, every year, the more money given to Mark, the more in the red they gone. He's a bad manager, a failed manager, and that is why he hasn't been able to show the people of Nevis what he has done with the money. So Mark, where the millions of dollars gone? I saw the other day, I still can't believe, Mark had a meeting in Cherry Garden. Lord, they need another word in the dictionary. But that wasn't a proper meeting. That wasn't a proper meeting. But somebody told me that the people were going around Nevis attempting to find where the missing millions had gone. The truth is, the country at this time only have one choice.
That's the NRP. One choice. You guys heard in Dwyer commentary, Dwyer spoke about the unfinished projects. Now, for you folks in Nevis, you all go and look around Nevis for yourself. You heard the conversation about the unfinished hospital wing. Have you guys seen any movement on that wing? Has it been opened? Is it completed, or is just the paint still standing? Is there any plastering done on the inside? Is the tile laid? Are the equipment in the sinks and the bathrooms and stuff like that? Is there any sign of that wing being used in 2023? I don't think so. And this is really Markup fellow. I heard my boy, Brother Manners last night says that since 2019, the Markup fellow promised to invest some couple millions to upgrade the El Camino Willet Park. Well, I wonder, with all the millions he get there, what happened to it if he couldn't pump a couple dollars in the park? Right now we're talking about expansion at the airport. With all the millions he get, nothing could have been done at the airport. The sweetest part that I hear, you know, I have to go look for this clip here. The sweetest part that I heard is that the Markup fellow said that, what his name is there, his partner, his partner there, the deputy premier that lost his seat over there to Janice. He said that the fellow said that there was a lot of irregularities over at the that district. And he asking the fellow if he wants to file a challenge in that area. And he tell him no. He will accept the the result. Well, partner, if you are elected as a member of cabinet and you got to work you behind for peanuts, because according to Dwyer, the politicians them in the federation not paying the right wages for their service. They need to get a raise. Well, it appears as though that the deputy premier was happy to lose his seat, because I understand now that he loses his seat, he getting some hefty salary as an advisor. He could stay home in his house and advise. He could travel the globe and advise, because he don't have to be in the office sitting down there, whatever. Let me see if I can find that clip. Stand by.
And James' seat, 8 votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. The Honorable Alexis Jeffers said that he was aware of quite a significant amount of impropriety that occurred in St. James on election day. And I asked Alexis Jeffers, what do you wish to do? Do you wish us to challenge? And he said no. He said the CCM has retained the government, and I am prepared to continue my work on behalf of the people of Nevis. And that was that. And so notwithstanding that was only 8 votes.
So I would like you folks online, if possible, to explain this to me. The incumbent party, the CCM, led by the Markup fellow, they was in charge of staging the election, and we all know how that went. The man went ahead and dissolved the House without having a constituted commission, electoral commission in place to supervise the supervisor of election. He then turned around, and after the old supervisor of election during the federal election resigned, he requested that that individual represent him at the electoral office. Now, this is the Markup fellow. This is the Premier of Nevis. Do this. He dissolved the House knowing that there was not a proper electoral commission in place to supervise the supervisor of election. He then, after we cry out foul with the former supervisor of elections, he decided he wanted him to represent him at the electoral office in Nevis, and he got his wish. And then this man is trying to tell me now, the markup fellow is trying to tell me now, this little black boy from St. Paul's, that his deputy premier said to him that there was several irregularities in his area and he lost by 8 votes. So his partner, the deputy premier, the sitting deputy premier, who was there, the incumbent, is telling the markup fellow, the premier, that the election that you run, that you're in charge of, I wasn't treated fairly. There was many irregularities in my area. And as a result of that, I lost by 8 votes. And he then asked his deputy premier, would you like to challenge it? Well, who the deputy premier going to challenge? His own party? His own premier? Which part of this makes sense? And he told the deputy premier, now the deputy premier told him, he's satisfied with the result because the CCM is still in government. So he won't challenge. Now, that deputy premier who lost his seat is now making more from his salary than he was previously making as a deputy premier of Nevis. You just can't make these things up. This is the premier saying it himself. You cannot, some things you just can't make
and
up.
James' seat, 8 votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. The Honorable Alexis Jeffers said that he was aware of quite a significant amount of impropriety that occurred in St. James on election day. And I asked Alexis Jeffers, what do you wish to do? Do you wish us to challenge? And he said no. He said the CCM has retained the government and I am prepared to continue my work on behalf of the people of Nevis. And that was that. And so notwithstanding that was only 8 votes, we have left that matter there.
Now, which part of that makes sense? But Ivor Henry, I think you got a little more time than me in the books. Explain that to me. How could your government be responsible for an election and you are reporting to your leader that there was many irregularities? As a result of that, you lost by 8 seats, and your leader going to tell you, would you like to challenge the results? Which part of that makes sense? But his deputy did not have to tell him that there was irregularities, you know. He himself knows it. He think he talking to donkeys. He himself know it. Because he tell you about the 16 ballots that was in a box that shouldn't be there. I know Nevis having a lot of donkeys, but don't mix up the donkeys with the human them. Nevis people sensible. Don't listen to the patch-up felony nonsense. Nevis people sensible. So listen to the patch-up, to the markup fellow, listen to him.
You all must not concern yourself, because all that happened apparently is that the tally gave one number, and then in the box there were additional 16 ballots. But the difficulty was that at the start of polling yesterday morning, we had some problems with the list. And so some people came to vote very early because they had the ID and they were on the master list. They were allowed to vote in the district, in the box that they normally vote. And that's what led to that discrepancy. I don't want you all to worry yourself about a thing. Don't worry yourself about a thing. Because I'm going around all day. Imagine my opponent rather than coming and saying,
now tell me, you all honestly believe that this individual is qualified to run the affairs of Nevis? Do you really think that this individual should be touching the people money? No, he talk about a hiccup too, you know. So you know, stop there. Talk about a hiccup too.
There was a hiccup, and I want to tell you all about it because I hear the NRP saying they're going court and all kind of thing. Well, let them go court. That's okay. Because one thing I know, the hiccup involves 16 votes. 16. So, Patricia Bartlett, listen to me. You can have all 16. Because even if you get them, and I give you 16 on top of them, and another 16 and 16 more, you still lose. So let me tell you something. The court has a two-pronged test in election matters. One, was there some illegality? If the answer to that is even yes, you must also answer the second, did that affect the outcome? And so that's why I tell her, take 16 plus 16. You know something? Take 100, you still lose.
Well, brother Markup fella, well, if you're so sure that all of them things there so you go, then why are you trying to intercept the case from getting to the start of a hearing? Why are you trying to get the case thrown out? Is one thing, you don't have any word, nobody can listen to nothing you're saying because you just beat it until lie your ass off all the time. But you don't even have any ethics. As a lawyer, or a former lawyer, my next clip that I'm going to be playing, you basically try the entire case on the mark program. That is what you did some weeks ago. Now, I know most attorneys or anyone that is involved in a matter that is ongoing, whenever questions are asked of the case, they would say, we cannot get into discussion on the matter because it's still before the court. We cannot touch it. That's people with ethics. You don't have any respect for the people of St. Kitts Nevis. You don't have any respect for the people of Nevis. I know you don't have any respect for the small little black boy from St. Paul's, and that's good. I still respect you as an individual. I just have an issue with what you're doing to the people of Nevis. So I will continue to show you love, show you the respect that is due to you, but I'm going to talk the things that I'm going to continue to talk the things and sensitize the people to who they're dealing with. Because you call women that is running against you animals. They only could talk to animals. They only could talk to dog and cat. But when the case drop, you want her to come and call you your cousin. Well, if you can talk to your cousin so, and disrespect your cousin like that, what are you going to do it to me and Moffett? I mean, you're going to respect for Moffett, Miguel there. So you choose to try the entire case on your podcast. So since you choose to try the case on your podcast, I'm going to give it some legs. I'm going to let the people hear for themselves. Just in the event the judge grant you your wish, at least the people know that you have already acknowledged that even if there was illegalities, you could still win. Remember one of the former presidents said he could stand up in Fifth Avenue and shoot people and still get away with it, you know. Basically, that's what you're telling me about yourself in the island of Nevis. You can't do no wrong. No matter what wrong you do, you're the golden child. Somebody will be there to protect you. But there's a saying, my grandparents used to say it, night run till they catch it. Tinny Morris used to tell me, who not hear what the granny said, salt, lime, and pepper there. There was a song, was sweeter goat mouth, sour bam bam. My grandfather tell me, was sweeter goat mouth, sour ass. Take warning that you heard Dwyer spoke about the amendment to the good governance and all of these things that is taking place. I hope you don't have to leave all of your asset for somebody else to enjoy while you join your boy over there in the new hotel they're building over there close to the STJ area. You know. because I understand the project is still ongoing. So I hope you all don't end up becoming the first guests at that facility. But for the people who did not hear your program, I will drop the clip of you trying the case and your program, since you are the judge and jury.
In J.D. Keynes's petition against the Honorable Spencer Brand, she said his name is Spencer Brand. He contested the election and he won. 3 things about Spencer. No allegations about us at all. All right. Were the allegations against the CCM as a party? CCM was not mentioned, except to say that Spencer and I were candidates for CCM. So, no allegations. Then there was a huge hullabaloo about 16 ballots that were found in the ballot box. And when they looked at the tally, those 16 appeared to be 16 extra ballots. Big hullabaloo. One would have thought, therefore, that there would have been a huge to-do about that in the petition. Not a word. No mention of these 16 ballots. Because, you see, NRP understood, once it was explained, what the issue was. Mere clerical error, nothing else. And so, one by one would have thought that these scandalous allegations being made out in the public space would have found their way into the petition. None of them have. All right. Dr. Bartlett would have gone to the law firm of Hector and Nisbet and Hector, whatever they're called, Patrice Nisbet, Roberto Hector, let me call him by his right name, Hansville Hector. I think the fellow Smarty, what's Smarty's name now? Eustace Nisbet. They are all at that firm. And that was the firm of choice. We know they're NRP activists and former politicians and all now in retirement. But they're still practicing as lawyers. They're in political retirement. And so she would have gone to them, and I recall she posted a photo that I saw of her signing her petition. And there was a huge applause that Dr. Pat had filed a petition. And so I wanted to see what the petition said. They filed a petition on the 6th of January, but they never served it on me until my birthday, the 11th of January. No problem. That was my gift from my cousin Pat. But the petition arrived and I looked through it and I had to laugh. Because as somebody who's a lawyer of long standing myself, I believe them fellas have a song where they say they see money coming. There's such a thing you see called costs. And I said, this looked like it could be some good costs to me. Because the petition said nothing. No allegations of fraud, no allegations of any illegality or impropriety, none whatsoever. And here I tell you about me, my name Mark, candidate, winner. That's it. Only thing you say about CCM, Mark was the candidate for CCM. That's it. So neither myself nor my party were implicated in anything. And all that they focused on is said they made 151 objections, and that Mr. Foy, the registration officer, did not hear all of the objections by the time the election came on the 12th of December. No, those election objections, those objections to persons on the voters list were done back in January of 2022. Pat Bartlett and the NRP waited for a year until the 12th of December to say they're making noise that those objections were not all heard. But what I find is interesting is that August 5th, 2022, there was a federal election on the same voters list. Well, August come before December. And so the objections that they had filed in January had not been heard by August, or had not been concluded by August, and therefore the very people that they now complain about were on the list in August. NRP went to the polls in August in the federal election. They lost all 3 seats. they never raised any objection or any problem. 5 months later, there's an election in December. This time around, a big hullabaloo that the very list and the persons on that list in August, that something is wrong. And so they've gone after Mr. Foy. And I have said here that I have known Mr. Foy all my life. I consider him to be an honorable man. Never heard anything said of him that was untoward. In all my dealings with him, he has been honorable. But here it is, they have now gone after him. Say he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Then they say that people who were registered in October and November, a few people, I think it was 31 or so persons, those persons should have been on the list for the December 12th election. And then, this 151 persons who they say should not have been on the list because they objected. That is the case that they brought. These people should not have been on the list because they objected. They then went on to say, finally, that some persons were successfully objected to, but those persons still appeared on the list. A small number. But when we started to comb through now, we find in the 151 objections that they made, some persons there had died. Some persons had not only already transferred to new polling divisions in Nevis, but actually voted. Like there were some voters, for example, who used to live in St. John's. They had moved to Gingerland. And they changed their vote to Gingerland and voted in the last election in Gingerland. But yet Pat down here saying, oh, they want the voters in St. John's, and that would have affected the outcome. Well, how could that affect the outcome when they vote in Gingerland, where they're properly registered? So you had all this hullabaloo. Now, election petitions are technical matters. They have their own rules, and the courts have been pellucid over the years as to how election petitions should go. One, it gives you a time frame to bring a petition. It says within 21 days. Two, it tells you how to count time. How do you arrive at that 21 days? Three, it says there must be something called a notice of presentation of the petition. Four, it says there must be something called a recognizance, providing security. And the law is clear as to when things have to be done and what has to be done to constitute a perfected petition. If you just go into court as they did and file this petition without more, no notice, no recognizance, then the petition is not a perfected petition. If you then go days or weeks later and file a notice, days or weeks later and file your recognizance, and you don't serve them within the time prescribed by law, you don't file them by the time prescribed by law, you don't serve them within the time prescribed by law, again, the petition is not perfected. If you were to file within 21 days and you filed outside 21 days, the petition is bad as a matter of law. And the cases are plain. I don't have my brief with me. But if I had my grip, I would have opened my grip and taken out a few cases. The same argument about hearings not being concluded. That argument was made in a case in St. Kitts involving Lindsey Grant and Glenn Ghost Phillip. And the court was pellucid in its view that those matters are not for an election petition. The same matters went to the court in Dominica. When the party in Dominica in opposition lost, they took Roosevelt Skerritt and the Dominica Labour Party to court. And they said the same things. These objections were not dealt with by the time the election came about. The court said, go sit down. Go sit down. That is not a proper matter for an election petition. And so we did the only thing that we could do. We decided that we're going to take NRP out of the misery early and save the people of Nevis all the drama and the uncertainty. Investors want to invest, everybody saying, oh, well, things murky now, we don't know what's going to happen. So we said, listen, let us apply to strike out these bad petitions. J.D. Kane's petition is so bad. J.D. said that some people there, their names were on the list and they were not allowed to vote. And that is an irregularity that should cause the court to set aside the election of Mr. Brand. Only problem is when you look at the names, you say, goodness gracious, this person has passed. I say passed, I mean deceased. That person is deceased. So you have some people who are at the cemetery, and JD telling the court they should have had the chance to vote. And because they were not given the chance to vote, that is an irregularity that rises to a level that Mr. Brand's election should be set aside. Abject, arrant, absolute nonsense. And so we decided that we will apply to strike out these petitions. But it's not just me who applied to strike out. Spencer applied to strike out. But all the other respondents have now applied to strike out the Attorney General. He said, no, man, these petitions here are stupidness, rubbish. The Solicitor General, the Electoral Commission, Mr. Rohan Claxton, all of them have applied to strike out. Mr. Foy. And the law and the facts are on our side.
You know, the funny thing about this guy is that, as I said, as a trader, as an attorney, that's his trade. He knows the rules. He knows what ethics are. He is running scared, and he's out here trying the case in the general public for himself, like he tried to do everything else when he has a problem. But the courts will decide that, you know, it will not be the markup fella deciding how this case ends. It will be the judge. As I said before, if the judge decides that the matter don't go forward, that is a decision for the judge to make. And I will abide and accept that because, in my view, I've said this time and time again, NRP had more than enough time to file these cases since the 12th of December. I've spoke to several people within the circle of NRP asking why it's taking so long to file these cases. So with this unethical behavior of the markup fellow, with all that he said there, let's give it to him. Even if he personally did not receive his papers on time as he claimed, and even if his partner, Mr. Brand, did not get his paper on time, what about the rest of the people that were served? You think the judge gonna just strike out everybody because you claim you didn't get yourself on time? The case was filed, and the electoral office, the electoral commission, and everybody that was a part of the system. And brother Mark, you knew what you were doing. You know you start off the election on a wrong footing. You knew that you did not, close down the house, dissolve the house, knowing that there was not a proper constituted electoral commission. The facts are there. The Prime Minister had to scramble the next day, however he get it in, and put things in place. We all know a lot of things went wrong. I was there. I was eyewitness to the Sunday night before the elections when I went back to Wally to get ready to go to the meeting. I see the amount of people over there at the Wally Pier coming off the boat with the suitcase. And there was division. There was not local people. And you all did not hide your operation because your people, they had on their blue CCM shirt with their logo. Why I knew your logo and your shirt and your uniform is because when I got into St. Kitts that Saturday, I saw Astro and Murray have on the same shirt. I saw them at Robert L. Bradshaw Airport. We say hi to each other. They was just coming from wherever they're coordinating to bring in their people. You all know what you all was doing. You know NRP won 4 seats, CCM won 1. The only person who won their seat for CCM is Eric Evelyn. You and I know that. I was on the ground in Nevis over at occasions when I got a call to say that the electoral office people down there. I went down there. When I started setting up my camera, people hollers, pull down the windows and whatever, police got involved. When the police came, the police could not even get inside the electoral office, had to be knocking on the door and wait. The police went inside and spent some time and then came back out telling us it's uncalled for. He was identified as one of your surrogates. He didn't come out and speak to the people like a police officer. He came out and speak to the people as a representative of CCM. We all know what went wrong. You know what went wrong. But the beauty about this thing, you know, one way or the other, we're going to get to the bottom of what's going on in Nevis, because you think that you're hugging up Dr. Joe. And Dr. Joe going to hug you up and kiss you like the farmer hug. Dr. Joe not into them thing they like the farmer hug, you know. Dr. Joe not into them kind of thing there. Dr. Joe is a straight man. So if you think Dr. Joe Momo, and you're going to fool Dr. Joe, that federal office is going to get set up in Nevis. Right? Dr. Joe going to be the prime minister for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And once all of these stuff is settled and gazetted, the good governance agenda and all of these stuff that they're dealing with, the investigation are going to come about those dollars, those federal funds. We're going to know about what's going on with the roads, the airport, the hospital wing, all of them millions that the farmer actually he sent to you. You're going to have to say where the money went. You're going to have to show the documentation. I see you being proactive. You start talking about hack. So once they hack your documents, you can't find them, you can't provide nothing. But keep it up. There are people out there smarter than you, man. There are people out there ahead of your game. And to everything that you can't find, remember those things were sent to somebody. So there's a computer someplace with that information. So if you think that you're going to clean your computers in Nevis, and you're going to clean your documents, so everything is clear when the investigation starts, I got news for you. Understand? Those information was sent to somebody, some firm, some email went somewhere, and the fire coming afterward. There's going to be a rude awakening for you. Take warning. There's going to be a rude awakening for you, Brother Marco. Because those information went someplace. You spoke about the investor business get hacked. And that is how the airport information came out. But remember you were saying that nothing goes on. NRP were causing confusion. Now you come back talking about hack and information leak. You fool who you could fool. There's people like myself, I can't speak for nobody else, that I'm going to stay on top of you like a wet pamper. I'm going to stay on top of you like a wet diaper. Back in the days when my grandparents couldn't afford diaper at the time, this pillowcase they used to wrap on us. So I'm going to be on your ass like a wet pillowcase. And you know them pillowcase back in the days, you know, they make from flour bags, so they're well strong, you know. So I'm not going in a place. I will be here for the long ride. I will be here for the long ride. So I got another clip here that you spoke about because you're very unethical. You're not an ethical person. And I want the people to know how dirty you is for themselves. When I want them to hear it from me, I want them to hear you, how dirty and nasty and have any respect for your position as premier in the body. You don't have no respect for Nevis people.
I leave that there and I move on. Let me report on the election petitions, because I think, as the world knows, Nevis would have had elections here on the 12th of December, 2022. In those elections, the NRP would have retained the St. Thomas's seat by some 204 votes, and the NRP would have narrowly won the St. James's seat by 8 votes. The CCM would have retained the seat in Gingerland by a handsome margin. I think it was over 400. They would have retained the seat in St. John's by a good margin, 147. And they would have retained the seat in St. Paul's, Charlestown, by a good margin of 27. I say good because the last time it was only 11. So the result was that the CCM won 3 seats, the NRP won 2. The CCM had gone into the election with 4 seats and was looking for 5. It came out of the election with 3 seats and the NRP 2. It means, therefore, that the CCM again forms the government to govern the island of Nevis for the next 5 years. Now, the election was hard fought. The results surprised many, including me. But the results are what they are. And I've always said that the voice of the people is the voice of God. And we must respect the results when they come. Provided, of course, that the results were as a result of free and fair elections. It was therefore a matter of some surprise that, having gone through that election on the 12th, that we started to hear all kinds of allegations of fraud and corruption and thief in election and all of this coming from the NRP. Mark you, the seat that was most narrowly won is the St. James seat, 8 votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. The Honorable Alexis Jeffers said that he was aware of quite a significant amount of impropriety that occurred in St. James on election day. And I asked Alexis Jeffers, what do you wish to do? Do you wish us to challenge? And he said no. He said the CCM has retained the government and I am prepared to continue my work on behalf of the people of Nevis. And that was that. And so, notwithstanding that was only 8 votes, we have left that matter there. We have congratulated the Honorable Janice Daniel Hodge, and we have moved on. The NRP, on the other hand, doesn't appear to have the capacity to move on. And so, they have come with the wildest allegations in the public space. They have said all kinds of things. In fact, I must confess that I was looking forward to the filing of their petition because I wanted to see what their allegations were. Because out there and on social media, they were making all kinds of noises, saying and alleging all manner of things. And I said, well, I'm interested in seeing what is being alleged. And so, having painted myself, Spencer Brand, and the entire CCM team as scoundrels, we look forward to these petitions. But when they arrived, the petitions really said nothing at all about CCM or about us. In my petition, Patricia Bartlett said that my name was Mark Brantley, that I was... Janice said no.
You see, again, like I said, the gentleman, should I call him gentleman? The Marco fella. No scruples. You all remember some time back, there was a clip that I was playing, the different faces of the Marco fella, how he lied. The guy, he was the former president, you know. In the same conversation he's having, while he's saying things He's telling you he didn't say it, you know. I remember when he was here in New York, there was no camera set up to do any live broadcast like I did for NRP, and I asked him, I said, why there's no camera set up to do anything for you guys to broadcast? And when the man tell me, the markup fella said, we don't record our town hall meetings. I said, what kind of party is this? Why would you be having town hall meetings and not recording your presentation for the history and for future? But the manners will be happy to have this information for future. Jesus Christ. When I found out the amount of lie this man tell, when I find out it's just lie after lie the man was telling at this town hall meeting that I went to, I understand now why they don't record the meetings. But listen to the various faces of the brother man there, the markup fella.
It is the best that it has, and so I am not going to resign from that particular position. I think the Prime Minister has put the position correctly. I have been on record saying, and I will continue to say, that in the 36 years that we have been an independent nation, this has been the best relationship that St. Kitts and Nevis has had.
Congratulations, sir, as a brilliant Prime Minister and steward of this country. And that is why I hold no water in my mouth when I say it is the best that it has ever been in the history of this country.
Has Nevis gotten the fair share at any time?
No.
What you think should be a fair share
No.
any time?
No. I have seen no program that has been rolled out federally that has not also benefited the people of Nevis.
Okay then, but then I could recall hearing you say that this is the best Nevis has been treated.
It is the best that it has, and so I am not going to resign from that particular position.
I have said it publicly time and time again.
This has been the best.
It is the best
relationship that St. Kitts and Nevis has had. It is the best that it has.
If you used to get nothing and you're getting something now, it must be best.
No. I don't know.
No, what you mean? No. And I like to remind people, because one thing I've found, that memories can sometimes be a little short. So it's important to repeat, and that is why I hold no water in my mouth when I say it is the best that it has ever been in the history of this country.
And we like it. We like it. It is far better for the people of Nevis.
That is the markup fella. The brain. You know, like one of those fuzzy drink. You hear it going off. You guys familiar with Andrews? The Andrews package we had back in the days when your stomach was not feeling right after you don't drink a couple of quarters of liquor. They used to have to try it in water and it start to bubble to break you up and clean you up. That is what this fella mouth is, you know. This guy have some fuzzy thing in the mouth. You know, I don't want to talk about his mouth because I don't want him to think I'm telling him that he look like a bulldog or anything like that, because I don't mean it that way. It's the things that come out the man's mouth I'm talking about. And at the end of the day, I do not know how the people of Nevis can tolerate this gentleman in this regard, because at the end of the day, it's a bad showing for Nevis. Very, very, very bad showing for Nevis. You know, let me see if I find this other clip here I got for him here, because remember he was talking about, he tells me, you know, at the town hall meeting, when I asked him about the status of the airport, I understand it was sold. I saw that on social media. And he said to me, Mr. Morrishaw, the reality is I'm not a crazy man. And no government gonna be crazy enough to sell the airport. The truth is that we are seeking investors to develop the airport and expand the runway. Well, if the news did not break about this agreement from May of 2021 that was signed, that he turned around and now says it's not binding. Well, partner, if you was looking investors in in November of 2022 when I asked the question, you were seeking investors, and then you come back, we find out that you had some kind of agreement signed in 2021, May. Some say in 2022. Either way, it was prior to our conversation. Why are you coming now saying that the agreement was not binding? So what agreement did you have? Is after you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, you went back to your friend and asked to let's renegotiate because the people ain't happy, things ain't sound good, things ain't look good? Is that what it is? Because I have a big problem with you telling me that for years you're in government and you had no interest in getting things organized for the people of Nevis, that they could come home and get flights in and out. According to you, nobody want to fly into Van Semi. They want to fly to St. Kitts and then come across because of the custom. The customs in Nevis, they trout everything and they search everything. But in St. Kitts, customs don't do that, so people could get away with a lot of stuff. You say it right at the town hall meeting, you know. You say if somebody come with one smartphone in Nevis, customs in Nevis will find it. But in St. Kitts, people could bring 6 smartphones and they're going to get away because the customs in Nevis, in St. Kitts, don't go through your luggage like in Nevis. That is why people fly into St. Kitts and not Nevis. And I want to know what kind of premier this. Because in times like these, where everybody's struggling and trying to find a little thing, people travel out on a little vacation, whether it's for a week or 2. And I keep saying this. You're going to tell me you expect people to spend all this money to leave Nevis or St. Kitts, go to St. Thomas, go to St. Martin, go to New York or whatever, and they're going to come back with a 2 long empty hand? That's what you all expect. So people come back with a little thing to give a little gift to the neighbor, to the family or whatever, and now you want to charge them an arm and a leg for the little shoes or the little pants or whatever the case might be. Are you all doing the wrong to the people? Because while you all running down people and charging this humongous amount of money and duty for some little thing, in the meantime, are you bringing all your things and I don't pay a thing for it? Are you bringing all your vehicle, I don't pay a thing for it? Somebody tell me they see you coming in and a charter flight with some billionaire and a jet, and they load off how much case of wine went for you. Or you do all kind of nonsense, and that's what Dwyer spoke about. You all get into office to run the country and look out for people. But I look out for yourself and all your friends and the millionaires. Because here you are, willing to give away the patrimony for Nevis, give away everything for Nevis to some friend that wants to fly his jet direct into Nevis. So you're going to accommodate your friend, give away Nevis for some 50 or more years, but you can't do nothing for the local people here. It's a shame that we have to go to this kind of stuff. It's really a shame. I soon sign off, you know, but I will come another evening for you. Remember Wednesday coming, I'll be back. But like I said, after listening to the big JL and his grounding school this evening, I gotta give them some props. They had a good conversation. I just have a little issue with them continue to focus on the NRP thing without touching what's going on with CCM, because there's a lot of things to talk about, JL. I would like you to send a team across the Nevis, brother JL. Send someone to look at the hospital, see the status of the wing at the hospital, the new wing that have taken up all this money. Come back on your groundings and talk about that, the status of the hospital. That has been talked about enough, and you all have not taken that step. So now that you all is into Nevis curry, you're all into Nevis business, I appreciate you all now. So come on, you could go and tell me partner Prince, you know, my brother the Prince at the Carib Express. Tell him that Morrishaw say he will pay for the 2 tickets for your staff, round trip. I know Prince, he will sponsor the tickets then, the Carib Express there. The ones you go and tell him Morrishaw said it's okay. I know Prince will give you round trip ticket, Brother Hull, the other captain. Once you say Morrishaw sent you, he will give you 2 tickets to go across to Nevis. Walk with your media person. Go up to the hospital and see what's going on up there. See the status of the wing. Come back next Friday and groundings. Let's talk about that. Go to the El Camino Willett Park. Check out the status of that. Let's come back and talk about it next week on groundings. Go across to the fast ferries that coming across from Reggae Beach to Wally Pier. Let's talk about the status. The roads that was started didn't finish since election done. Let's talk about them things here. Did the people get their honorarium as yet? Let's talk about that. You remember the 10% that was cut into 5 and supposed to get some in January and whatever? Find out if them things that was done. Let's talk about those things there. Let's talk about these stuff. That's what groundings is there for, to bring the facts to the people. I'm going to work with you, JL. I will work with you. But let's get to the bottom of things. You're doing a good job. And I want you to make me proud and make your sister proud, the Governor General, because she's going to do a good job as well. You know. Be the voice of the people that cannot speak for themselves. And ask me, boy Sam, to stop stutter, stop stammer, and be direct. Don't be the bill. Or be the sword. Start talk straight. Call a spade a spade. Mark need to fall. Mark must fall. Nevis must rise. Nevis have to rise again from the ash. Nevis must rise again. And the only party right now that can bring Nevis back on top is the NRP. The markup fella is not capable. He never had any vision from what I'm seeing. All I've seen was lies. And what I'm seeing now, he's been caught between a rock and a hard place because his lies becoming so regular now. You know what's coming next. Before he even opened his mouth, you know what's coming next. So that is where we are. You understand? So let me drop this one here and see if you remember this one.
With a financier to determine how best to go about executing a plan for that airport. The negotiations are ongoing. We have not concluded anything in relation to the airport. And it would have been irresponsible of me to go out into the public domain to talk about what we are negotiating, what terms were offered, what our counter was. We don't, and nobody does that in terms of the public. What you do is you have your discussions. And then when you have something to report, you report on that something. And I sought to explain that to Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, the Honorable Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge. And I was shocked and dismayed. And I said so last week, to see that my letter written to her could find its way onto the social media page of one of her party hacks. And I said to myself, well, why would this be done? And what confidence does that give the Premier of Nevis in having open communication to try to resolve issues with the person who's leading the main opposition party on the island? And I chastise her because I think perhaps she doesn't get it. She doesn't quite understand what is going on. We understand. We are seeking.
You know, this markup fellow is speaking about a letter that the leader of the opposition sent to him that made it on social media. And she don't understand. And he's chastising her for this letter. You guys heard the clip I just played a while ago? There's an ongoing legal matter in court that is still ongoing. And this man spent 11 plus minutes discussing it on his program. He's giving advice to people not to do things when he don't have the ethical rights to do it. The guy has moral bankruptcy. He don't have no moral. And my boy Astro was correct. I got to give Astro a plug tonight, boy, big track. Big tune. Talk to you, Premier.
It is plain to see our society is facing a real crisis of moral bankruptcy. We have squandered away the good values of yesterday, leaving us with a big debt to pay. Naked corruption has been the order of the day, consuming a cesspool of decadence and decay. We don't care what it takes to satisfy our needs. Like shippers, we're selling ourselves at the altar of greed. Our self-worth has hit rock bottom, reaching an all-time low. We're facing a moral deficit. We need some divine credit to redeem us from this darkness. This thing real serious, it ain't no joke. When I say the country's morally broke, our bank of morals gone down so low. I wonder where we could get some to borrow. Lord have mercy. We need a loan of integrity. How did we reach this place? Tell me, where people are bought like commodities, both selling like hot bread and butter. But in the end, it really didn't matter. Lord have mercy. We need a loan of dignity. We are morally bankrupt. Lord, we need a loan to top up. Lord have mercy. Send down persons to lift us up. I said to pull us up. I said to bail us out of this moral bankruptcy. Hear me now.
You think that's true? Moral bankruptcy. People of Mavis.
Our treasury of moral currency has devalued to the lowest degree. We have lowered the bar. Our values have sunk so far. Sometimes I can't recognize who we are. We have become a people dependent on handouts, designed to keep us living from hand to mouth. When I see my people in compromised positions, bending over, engaging in all kind of transactions, I say, oh God, everything fall down. All they can on the ground. We alone urgently to restore our humanity, our sense of pride and decency. Hear me now. This thing real serious, it ain't no joke. When I say the country morally broke, our bank of morals gone down so low. I wonder where we could get some to borrow. Lord have mercy. We need a loan of integrity. How did we reach this place? Tell me, where people are bought like commodity, both selling like hot bread and butter. But in the end, it really didn't matter. Lord have mercy. We need a loan of dignity. We are morally bankrupt. Lord, we need a loan to top up. Lord have mercy. Send down persons to lift us up. I said to pull us up. I said to bail us out of this moral bankruptcy. Hear me now. Can't deny we're in short supply of honorable men and women with integrity. That's why the people invest 5 years of trust in you for the good you can do, Dr. Jew. You have a 5-year loan to repair all the damage left by those who recklessly rape and ravish. You have a moral obligation to stamp out corruption Otherwise it's more of the same old dirty game. To stop this vicious cycle, we have to hold you accountable. We need leaders with sound character. Morals and values really matter for good governance agenda. Hear me now. This thing real serious, it ain't no joke. When I say the country's morally broke, our bank of morals gone down so low. I wonder where we could get some to borrow. Lord have mercy. We need a loan of integrity. How did we reach this place? Tell me, where people are bought like commodity, both selling like hot bread and butter. But in the end, it really didn't matter. Lord have mercy. We need a loan of dignity. We are morally bankrupt. Lord, we need a loan to top up. Lord have mercy. Send down mercy to lift us up. I said to pull us up. I said to bail us out of this moral bankruptcy. Hear me now, hear me now.
You know, as I listen to this song, I'm wondering if Cleone and Astro drink from the same glass. Because I know Astro is a part of the Blue machine. He's a part of the operation. I've seen him in action. So when he speaks about moral bankruptcy and how did we get to this point and people pants on the ground and all this thing, I wonder if you see the markup fella pants on the ground. I wonder who pants is on the ground and vote selling and this kind of stuff. It appears as though that is a part of it. It appears as though Astro is a part of all of these things he's singing about. So how he say he don't understand? After the big JL player clip earlier from Sister Janice, Cleone called in to the Freedom and said she don't know why she's suspended. Well. Donkey belly swell. Remember that back in the days? We played a game in school. Well, donkey belly swell. How come these people could be doing these things and come back trying to act like they do not know what's going on? You know, how could they do that? You know, and we're talking about morals. We know that the markup fella not gonna morals, you know. Now the markup fella stopped there and cuss off the leader of the chairman, sorry, of the NRP, because he do his due diligence and whatever the case might be. Now, I don't know what Hensley did to him. The little that I see of Hensley seems to be a very respectable man. So again, I'm playing these clips, you know, because I don't want you all to say, oh, Morrishaw cussing the markup fella, whatever. I want her to hear for yourself. The man is very unethical. He don't have any respect for the people of Nevis. Listen for yourself. How the markup fella cuss off Hensley.
Pass to X-ray. Janice said no. So the question is now, what's going to happen? Because I see the NRP stalwarts and activists have turned on the deputy leader like a, oh my goodness gracious, like a pack of hungry hounds, tearing her limb from limb. Even the chairman, Hensley Daniel, Lord Hensley teach me in high school, you know, that means Hensley. Hensley pretty close to the 3 score and 10. Have to be. And end up still around in them hard kick and stab shoe and some hard starch up gabardine pants attack Bohemian politics. He said he go sit down and go rest himself. He is the chairman of NRP and send letter via bailiff. Are you hear me say? High Court bailiff gonna go look for Cleone. Lord have mercy. High Court bailiff gone to look for Cleone with a letter from her own party, giving her, I am told, an ultimatum. Cleone must laugh at him. All this while, Jan is quiet like a church mouse. And now she comes, she telling sensible people, there's no problem, nothing is wrong, no problem. Today, Cleone is saying, people must learn patience and just be patient. Oh, you mean just be patient? When you get letter from bailiff, and Hensley, Daniel, who has the dubious distinction of the only politician in history.
Now, what is the cause for this man to attack Hensley Daniel, the chairman of the NRP? Why is he in NRP business? He got his own issues in CCM, you know. We know what they are. I'm not going to come out here and repeat things that were said to me. I deal with things according to how I need to deal with them. So I'm not going to get into the back and forth with the CCM, but they got their own internal problems. As I said earlier, Cleone came out and spoke about Hensley sending her a letter via bailiff. What Cleone did not explain to the general public is that letter was sent to her several days earlier by the leader of the party, and she never responded. So to ensure that she received the letter, the bailiff was then engaged to make sure it's delivered. It's the right thing to do. Look at where we are. Cleone is talking about her rights and court and all this kind of stuff. So if all of these things are going to be taking place, naturally, you got to have your things lined up. So at the end of the day, I will not even get into any further conversation in that regard, because the markup fella doesn't deserve the time. He does not worth the time. We are clear on the situation that the markup fella does not have the qualities to be Premier of Nevis. He have shown that. Like I said in previous broadcasts, the late Vance Emery had several conversations with me. I know the fight down he got from the markup fella, especially when he got sick in England some years back and they tried to overthrow him then. He's not here to defend himself, so I'm not going to get into that. But trust me, the CCM have their own internal issues. But let's stay focused. Keep the eye on the prize and look forward to a dawn of a new day, which is going to be with us soon, you know, one way or the other. A dawn of a new day will be with us shortly. And whatever decision is made by the judge on the 15th, by the way, I'll take it. It's my birthday. We're going to be having a good time here with the Honorable Foreign Minister, Honorable the Right Dr. Denzel Douglas will be my guest. We'll be speaking about the situation, the status of St. Kitts Nevis from statehood to current. It was a nice afternoon. I appreciate all you folks that log on and stay with me and everything. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for the support. Please continue to support the leader of the NRP and the NRP party as we try to rescue Nevis from the shackles of these white-collar criminals that we have out there doing all manner of evil to our people. So I'm going to drop this track, Dawn of a New Day. I'll be heading out of here for this evening. Look forward to seeing you on another broadcast. Stand by for the late great Flying Swallow.
An uprising nation could never be a nation when undoubtedly it's heading in the wrong direction. We need cooperation just to solve the problem, otherwise things will remain the same. If we let frustration and hopelessness prevail, by all means the nation is going to fail. action. We will overcome our own division. We need a sense of purpose, a sense of community, and a welcome hope of sincerity. When we move that clouds that block the flow of progress and positively show we must gain success. Cause the war wouldn't take us to a goal. It's cooperation, I'm sure, to bring the problems under control. Only when we start to see eye to eye, we will move to higher heights by and by. Only when we stop all this backbiting, we will have a true country progressing. When we work together through that stormy weather, when we file our motion into one direction, we will definitely be opening up our eyes to see that dawn, beautiful dawn of a new day. Hatred and suspicion, vice, poverty and crime would only put this place in plenty turmoil. A little time and patience, good public relation, bound to uplift the character of this nation. If we to determine nation's future, we must fight to get conditions better. Success must come either by force or by will, cause we have plenty room for improving still. We can't let this country's plan lay in ruin, cause all of us will end up suffering. It's a long, long way and rough road to travel, but we should be all willing and able. We can't let this country wait by day and sleep by night without gold. It's a monument for third world. Only when we start to see eye to eye, we will move to higher heights by and by. Only when we stop all this backbiting, we will have a true country progressing. When we work together through the stormy weather, when we file our motion into one direction, we will definitely be opening up our eyes to see that dawn, beautiful dawn of a new day. Some people real heartless in every way. They do nothing else but make this country black every day. Their efforts are fruitless, their poor production. They do not believe in righting the country wrong. The past wouldn't make the future impossible if we decide to fight and struggle. Although Mother Nature turns against us sometimes, this country nevertheless should be on supply. We need that love that comes from deep within. If we should see this place improving, it's not by size this country will rise up all. Our health is a good chance for survival. Self-respect and pride along the way is a step forward, I say, to see the dawn of a rising day. Only when we start to see eye to eye, we will move to higher heights by and by. Only when we stop all this backbiting, we will have a true country progressing. When we work together through that stormy weather, when we file our motion into one direction, we will definitely be opening up our eyes to see that dawn, beautiful dawn of a new day.
Yes, man, that is the man, the late great Flying Swallow there, talking about the dawn of a new day and what you need to do to assist in promoting your country. The big JL, Jetty Taylor, has offered lunch to pick up the tab for lunch for you or your guests when you go across to Nevis for a trip. We are asking you to take a trip across to Nevis and get a first-hand view of what's happening on the island, all of the improvements, all of the shortfalls, the unfinished projects that Dwyer spoke about in the Federation there. It will be nice if I could hear that conversation and groundings next Friday. I would love that follow-up from you. So if you can go and check out my body, Prince Mills at the Caribbean Express, and tell him DJ Morrishaw sent you. I know Brother Mills will take care of your round-trip tickets until he see me. He have always been a sponsor of this program and have always supported all of my good deeds for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. So there you have it, JL. You got 2 round-trip tickets aboard the Caribbean Express across to the sister island Nevis, and you got Jetty Taylor picking up the lunch. I mean, I'm pretty sure if nobody else is there to pick up the liquids, whatever the liquids you choose, my girl Muffet Slack right there in Charleston will take care of you. The seller DJ Morrishaw sent you. Check out the bakery there, check out my boy Mikey Slack. He will take care of you or whatever the case might be. And if you have problem on the island, you know, even the markup fellas and nobody know me there, the whole of Nevis know me. So just stop around by Mackie Trust. He got a little vegetable shop and thing there right on Main Street. Just go and tell Mackie that DJ Morrishaw sent you there, and you need some assistance, you need transportation, whatever. And now Mackie Trust will take care of you. So don't pay the markup fella anymore, you know. Just give Carbo a call to, you know. Carbo will find Jeff Pemberton, Patty, Sister Bartlett, and Janice, whoever, Brother Hens, they'll take care of you guys. But all you folks that has taken a hands-off approach. As a matter of fact, I will not even tell you to send 2 people, JL. I want you to send my cousin there, Patrick Martin, Dr. Patrick Martin and Sam. I want you to let them go and speak to Prince Mills. I want Sam and Dr. Patrick Martin. I understand he's advisor of health to the JNF, to the Prime Minister, with the Prime Minister thing there, with Dr. Morton. I understand he's officially working on staff for the government as advisor of health. So in the interest of health for St. Kitts and Nevis, and by extension, Nevis, I want you to organize for Dr. Patrick Martin and Sam to take a visit to the Alexandria Hospital, check out the new wing, and come back. If they don't go no place else before, we want them to come back next Friday and groundings and talk about their visit at the Alexandria Hospital and the status of the project there. That is their homework for this week. And based on the good job that they do, we'll give them some more work the following week. But we're gonna give them one project for next week. Tell them visit the sister island Nevis, both of them. Come back on groundings and let's talk about that. In the meantime and between time, I got to take a break and run out of here. So I just want to thank everyone for your continued support and logging on and checking out the things. I want to big up my girl there, Sister Rosita Pontin, Sister Naomi Ward, like I said, Sister Hazel Claxton, my son there, JefroyMorrishaw Jr. over there in the LA area, Sister Jazette, my daughter Rochelle there in Ohio, my sister Esther in Tortola, Mokish and the kids, Brother Ken Banier. Want to big up my partner there. Julian Pemberton, how are you doing? Julian, I know you're at the fire station, so when Sam and Dr. Martin come across to Nevis, invite them across by the fire station and treat them the way you just treat me when they get there. I know you're very accommodating over on that end, so let them know that Nevis is part of the Federation now, 1 Prime Minister, 1 Attorney General. So since we have the Attorney General representing them, let's represent everybody. Not just one part of Nevis. Let's deal with the whole part of Nevis. So in the meantime and between time, I'm gonna drop this track by the late great King Arrow. This one is called Arise, My People. want to big up my engineer, the man Ike, for your continued support to the JefroyMorrishaw production. Also my boy there, brother Tony Hendrickson. Thanks for your continued assistance, my brother. Have a good evening, folks. Brother Leighton Esdale, how are you doing? The man Jamesy and Dennis, how are you doing? The sister and brother-in-law. What a night. Oh, what a night.
Your country dying and never lend a helping hand. Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? nation, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, save yours.
Oh yeah. Yes, man, the sound of the late great King Arrow. I remember well when he performed that song during the 25th anniversary celebration of independence here at the Eastwood Manor. We had one of our former Prime Minister, I must say the first Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Kennedy Simmons, and Arrow explained to me how he came about singing that song and the tributes and everything. That song will never die. That song was masterfully penned. The music, lovely. Cannot take it away from my boy there, the King Elimat, for his musical arrangements and that track. You know, I got to give it to him. Very powerful song. And as I start, so I will end. You know, I want folks to understand. They just, as the Markefeller does say, ignore the noise. The situation that the NRP find themselves in had to take place because some people has a different ambition to what the party guidelines call for. And I believe in what the Bible says, when you're left on a offend, you chop it off, you know. There'll be a lot of no-handed people around here because they're chopping off a lot of hands, yeah? But this have to happen. Sister Cleone Simmons have make her decision in doing what she's doing. Whoever is guiding her or advising her, whatever it is, good luck to them. But you have come to that point where the NRP is left with no other position but to let her go. You know, go through the process, do the democratic thing, and just rebuild. And that's all we have to do. And Sister Dennis Daniel, as the leader of the NRP, you know, you have my full support. Whoever the leader was in this position at this time would have been getting the same support from me. I believe in order. I believe in law and order. So you guys just have to do the right thing and get rid of that. So, and let's rebuild the NRP and continue to do good work that the people put you there to do. Until such time as we meet next Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. St. Kitts Nevis time, 5 p.m. New York time. We soon go back to the normal time in New York here, you know. Daylight saving time will be going back soon. So soon level off at 6 p.m. for both St. Kitts and Nevis. But for now, I try to work the program to accommodate the folks in St. Kitts because that is where I'm focused right now, what's taking place in the Federation. So I know a couple of you folks has been messaging me saying that the time in New York is too early, you got to get out of work and all of that stuff. I understand, but also keep in mind that the program is there on Facebook, and I realize YouTube is streaming it as well. I do not know how they do that, but YouTube has it as well. So it's better that I accommodate the folks at home that this is affecting at the moment, and you will catch up or go back and look at it at a more convenient time. But I have to work with the 6 o'clock hour in St. Kitts. In a few weeks, we're gonna go back to daylight saving times and everybody will be on the 6 o'clock time zone. So my apologies. I also have to accommodate the folks in the UK and other different folks across the globe with their time zone. So I have to stick with that 6 o'clock hour. So folks, be safe. I want to say good night to my baby girl one more time, Sister Beverly Morrishaw, Gwyneth Morrishaw, Dorothy Allen, Sister Cora Bennett, Sister Ann Farrell Smith, and crew. the man Dynamic Oven, the man Buzzer Brown, the mechanic there. One love to you guys. Stay safe until such time.